Even when we were little, before we could even spell our names, we still looked up. When we were scared, we didn't run to logic or science. We prayed. Thunder would hit and we'd say, that's God. We talked to the sky, asked for stuff, wished for stuff, and deep down, we believed someone was listening. Nobody taught us that. It just came natural. Like we already knew something bigger was out there. But as we got older, things changed. Life hits us. You lose people. Prayers don't get answered the way you wanted. You see religious folks doing grimy stuff. You see leaders preaching love but living fake. You start getting distracted. Work, school, social media, trauma, fake friends, depression, doubt. All that natural belief you had as a kid, it starts to fade. Slowly, quietly. Until one day you realize you don't feel close to God like you used to. Sometimes it's not even deep. You just get caught up. Wake up, go to work, scroll all day, stress all night. You start chasing money, chasing clout, chasing peace, and you don't even realize how far you drifted. Other times, it is deep. Maybe you begged God for something, and when it didn't happen, it broke you. Or you saw people use religion to control, abuse, or shame others, and it turned you off completely. Then there's the internet. Every video got a new truth. Every post got something saying God ain't real or religion is just a scam. And after a while, you just start feeling confused and tired and empty. But here's what most people don't realize. Having questions doesn't mean you lost your faith. Doubting doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're human and you're searching. Sometimes walking away from fake religion is the first step towards finding real faith. The kind that's tested, the kind that's honest, the kind that's yours. In this video, I'm breaking down why people really leave religion, the pain, the pressure, the confusion, and how everything around us, from school to media to trauma, plays a role in pulling us away from God. But I'm also going to show you how, even after all that, you can still come back. You were born believing. If you feel lost now, maybe you didn't lose your faith. Maybe it got buried under the noise. Most people who leave religion like to use the word cult. You know what I'm saying? It's just a word that they like to use. When people speak after they left religion, they talk as if they know something that we don't. Like they kept digging and ended up finding something that they just won't release to everybody else. It gets to a point where they look at people who are religious and say, wow, I can't believe that used to be me. They're seriously just like, they don't even understand that they're brainwashed. They don't understand that they're in a cult. Like, I'm so much happier now that I don't have to, you know what I'm saying, do that. Everybody likes to point at each other from different groups, whether it's Democratic, Republic, Islam, Christianity, any kind of, you know what I'm saying, religion, cult, spirituality, anything. Everyone likes to point at each other and sit there and say why the other person is wrong. And while a lot of it has fair points, there's so much other stuff to say that it's not fair points. If you're a follower of Islam, there's people telling you, hey, Islam debunked, and videos saying that it's the devil's religion, and vice versa towards Christianity.
Okay, if there is a God, what is the purpose of life?
Well, in the Christian tradition, the purpose of life is to engage in voluntary, upward.
It's hard to really sit down and figure out what you really believe. You know, you get to a point where you're really lost because it's like every time you turn one direction, there's always an arrow pointing you to something else.
If God exists and wants to come to know everybody and wants to love everybody and does so for the sake of human beings, why he chose to imbue the world with so much suffering that is at least seemingly completely inexplicable.
And today, I'm going to be using
Young Don the Sauce God
as my example. When I was in the 7th grade, my homeboy, we asked each other, who's your favorite YouTuber? I told him my favorite YouTuber, and he told me his favorite YouTuber. And he said, my favorite YouTuber is Young Don the Sauce God. And I said, who is that? So he instantly opened up the computer because we was in the computer lab, and he started showing me his videos. I instantly fell in love with these videos. I started watching Young Don every day or every time he posted. He just kept it real. He told stories, and it could really feel relatable to kind of like that high school and just a normal person talking to another normal person. And he kept doing these videos consistently. Very talented guy, very talented animations, and really, I just kept watching his videos, and he kept entertaining me. So he eventually kind of strayed away from doing animations, and he completely just kind of stopped doing YouTube that much. He kind of strayed away from it, but he started doing streams.
Again, this is what I mean by the racist nature, the subtle racist nature of the liberal white man. Who does he say that I was inspired by? I have told the story multiple times of how and why I got into animating on YouTube. I got into animation on YouTube when I went home to Jamaica for a summer and my little brother was watching The Odd Ones Out.
He started reacting to videos such as Andrew Tate, popular topics, stuff like that. And I found these videos really, really interesting. Now, at the time, I was starting to get into Islam, and this is when I reverted to Islam. During this same time, young Don found himself in Christianity. It kind of annoyed me a little bit because I couldn't watch any of his normal or regular videos he used to post. He completely dropped everything that he was doing and completely wanted to focus his life to Christianity. And for months it was like this. He constantly posted Christianity videos. He did Christian streams. He debated people online about Christianity, Muslims, atheists. Nobody was safe. So this went on for about 2 years. Young Don, a die-hard Christian. Christianity couldn't do no wrong in his eyes. But one day he made a huge mistake.
I said, well, how about the Trinity then? Now, I had no problem with the Trinity. I love the Trinity. When, I've had Muslims join my Discord and I've debated them and proven to them that the Trinity is true. The Trinity is true. Why? Because according to mainstream Christian culture, to deny the Trinity is to deny God. To deny the Trinity is to deny Jesus, Yahweh, everything all together, as if they aren't even real. I never for a moment considered the possibility that man has miscategorized these people. I mean, Jesus sure tells us there is only one true God, the Father. This is a message that is repeated throughout the Bible in several places. And so I was like, you know what? Let's look into this. Let's test it. And I tested it. Wait a minute. Do you know how many times the term God the Father occurs in the Bible? 19. You know how many times God the Son or God the Holy Spirit occurs in the Bible?
0.
Young Don denied the Trinity. So me personally as a Muslim, I don't believe in the Trinity, of course.
Claimed to be a Christian. Now, this is why this is troubling, because just yesterday, from the day of this stream, he went live on YouTube with almost 1,000 people watching and denounced the Trinity.
So this is how it's one God. The Father is not the Son. The Son is God. The Son is not the Spirit. Right? One God shared by 3 distinct persons. But you would think young Don would know that.
Now, watch what a coward he is. What a son of the devil he is. He knows he doesn't believe in the Trinity. He knows he's now attacking the Trinity. And not once does he inform me in our conversation in the past 2 weeks or in text, he's an anti-Trinitarian. He kept that from me.
But I even think that people who are Christians shouldn't believe in the Trinity anyway, because I was told, and doing research, I found out that apparently the Trinity only came 90 years after Jesus actually passed away. According to Christianity, I met all types of Christians, Baptist, Orthodox, Catholic, and I even know some Christians who also deny the Trinity. This isn't like a uncommon occurrence for people to deny the Trinity. I've met dozens of Christians who sat there and said, listen, Jesus isn't God. He's the Son of God. The Father is the most powerful, and he created Jesus and sent him to earth. And I can actually get behind that. I don't believe that, but I can respect and understand why they believe that, because it makes a lot more sense than saying it's God, it's God, Holy Spirit, and whoop de whoop in one. But anyway, and if you want to know any of my thoughts on anything related to these topics, anything, my opinion, or just ask me or need someone to reach out to, or if you're interested in Islam or have any questions about certain things, you can reach out to me. Here's my personal Instagram right here. Y'all can check that out if you want to. But anyway, after Young Don denied the Trinity, he started getting hate all over the place from the entire Christianity, and the entire internet just started bashing him. You had Christians calling him coward, calling him the B word, calling him curse words, calling him all types of things. I wouldn't know how I would feel being a Muslim if the entire Islam community was just bashing me on YouTube and calling me names. So I can really understand on why he would feel like he should stray away from it. You know what I mean? So Young Don started posting stuff on Twitter later saying that he is done with Christianity. He believed in this cause for stupid stuff. And he tweeted a lot of things and he made videos and he briefly touched on a lot of points. And I can't lie, you know what I mean? I think a lot of them were valid, I think he had a good reason to think a lot of the stuff that he thought. I don't think that Christians and the people surrounding him were giving him enough to answer what he's been wondering. It's just completely like he put his all into this religion, and they really just let him down and threw him under the dirt whenever he didn't say stuff that completely fit their narrative. He had questions, he had doubts, and when they could have been there to support him and help him the most, they completely buried him and sat there and said he's not a real Christian. He has completely changed his channel. He made a new channel called Young Don Reacts YDR, where he completely just posts videos about trending topics and all types of stuff like that. Now, me being a Young Don fan for so long, even when his opinions didn't match mine, even when he called all Muslims perverts and accused us of all types of stuff, I sat with him and I kept my faith because I think he still had good intentions in his heart. And I was like, not gonna be like, hey man, this man's tripping, I ain't never, hey, fuck him, this, that, and the third. I'm not that type of person. So I stayed loyal and I kept watching his videos. I kept keeping track with him. And he no longer carries the same opinions about Muslims. He's a lot more respectful when it comes to Islam.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
But he is no longer any religion. So this is a good question. This is a thing where it's not like he switched religions or he didn't go to Islam, he didn't go to Buddhism, he didn't even go to Judaism or anything like that. He completely abandoned religion altogether. And when I talked to Uthman, I vouched for Young Don, and I even brought him up in the conversation. And Sheikh Uthman pretty much said he thinks that once Young Don denied the Trinity, a lot of people surrounding him, pretty much they had a fall off and it just rubbed Young Don the wrong way. And Young Don could just no longer be a part of something that is just so, just something that's putting him down. So I reached out to Young Don a few times. I emailed him twice. I even commented under a bunch of his videos. But as he likes to say,
what you resist persists and what you chase escapes.
So he still hasn't reached out to me. But the reason I chose him for this example is because his entire journey from him being a high schooler in 2018 and 17 making those animation videos to him going through Christianity to a Republican faith, and now Young Don is spiritual. And I noticed that's something when people are a little bit smarter than other people, they usually kind of shift fast. You know what I mean? It's not to say you're better than anyone or anything like that, but some people are naturally just a little more competent and understand things a lot more than other people. And I had that issue growing up where I was spiritual for like a year or two, then I was this for like a year or two, then I was this for a year or two, and I just kept kind of rotating until I found myself here in Islam. But anyway, so whenever I noticed that Young Don was doing the same thing, having trouble really finding answers, opening up a door and it just leading up to more doors of questions and just never really getting a definitive answer, constantly searching for the truth, I can understand why he kind of flip-flops. I can understand why his opinion changes so much. And it doesn't mean you're, a snake or you're a hypocrite. It just means that the more stuff you understand, the more your thoughts change and your opinions change as you grow and get older. And it could be really hard, especially like this. But it is amazing because he's so genuine, and he's just a likable person that even though he's flip-flopped and he's had all these different opinions, he still has been able to keep somewhat of a loyal fan base. I mean, he's not pulling in 3 million views a video like he used to do on his animation channel, but he still has a few thousands of people following and riding with him and still caring about him regardless of what he's doing. So anyway, let's kind of stray away from Young Don and kind of use these examples, because the purpose of this video is to kind of discuss and understand why people stray away from religion. So with everything being said, and me using Young Don as an example, and really just talking about certain things and putting up a lot of questions in this video, I will not let y'all go without trying to give y'all some answers and explain to y'all the best way I possibly can. I want to try to put this in a way and say all this stuff without completely just putting it all in Islam perspective, but to put it in a perspective where everybody can understand. And if y'all want to, of course y'all can join Islam. I have to give dawah. The hard truth about why people leave religion. Usually the number one reason on why most people leave religion is trauma. Abusive families, communities, or using religion as a whip. They throw away the whole thing completely. Many people who are born in religion but are never taught why. There's no real connection with God. No understanding of the beauty of any of the religious books. Just rules, rules, rules with no soul. So when they face doubts or desires, religion feels like a prison, not a path. They leave religion for freedom, but often end up in spiritual homelessness, numb, drifting, chasing highs. Influence of science and modern logic. We live in a world that worships science, data, logic, and self-authority. They're told if they can't prove it in a lab, then it's not real. So they treat the soul like it doesn't exist because it can't be dissected. But deep down, when they sit down alone in the silence, they still feel the void. Something is missing, and some never admit it. They just distract themselves with pleasure, hustle, and noise. The internet gave doubts a microphone. TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, podcasts, atheist influencers, former Muslims, ex-pastors, they say, I left religion and now I'm free. They make you feel like if you believe, you're just naive or afraid to question. But here's the dirty secret. Most of them didn't find the truth. They just got tired of wrestling with faith, or they wanted a lifestyle religion couldn't support. It's not about discovering a secret. It's about being seduced to ease. They want the desire without the discipline. A lot of people leave religion because they want to sleep around, party, chase money, and live without guilt. Religion tells you to control yourself. That's uncomfortable, so they say. Maybe all religion is just a man-made system to control people. But in reality, they just don't want to be held accountable. The cult label feels powerful. Calling religion a cult is trendy. It makes people feel like they escaped the mind control. They woke up from the matrix. They're now intellectually superior. But here's the irony. They usually just joined another cult of modernization, atheism, or self-worship, or even hustle culture. The real cult today is everyone chasing money they don't need, worshiping celebrities, following trends blindly, destroying family values, glorifying depression and lust. People left God but still crave meaning. The ex-religious crowd still meditates, talks about the universe, believes in vibes, energy, alignment, quotes, and watches documentaries about ancient wisdom. That's real proof they didn't lose faith. They just rebranded it into something more poetable because the soul still knows. The raw reality is that people who leave religion didn't find truth. They just stopped looking because the search was uncomfortable. They want God who doesn't judge, a religion that doesn't restrict, a truth that doesn't demand change. So is religion just a cult? The word cult implies blind obedience, no freedom to question. To sum everything up, So most people who leave religion don't just leave religion, and they usually pivot to something else. Atheism, spirituality, anything. But it seems like no matter how young we are, and even as newborns, we think and we believe in a God and a higher power. It's like it's engraved into our brain to believe that there's really some sort of energy, some sort of being, some sort of higher power who's looking down at us and controlling everything that happens in our universe. There's just too many coincidences, there's just too many blessings, and it can be really hard to ignore sometimes. But with that being said, there's also more stuff to tell you that it's all false, it's all made up. Coincidences are coincidences, and you should not listen to it. You should be spiritual. You should believe in the universe. You should believe in multiple gods. It's just so much influence in the world, and all you have to do is pray. Pray. Hope that you find what you believe in, what makes you the most comfortable, what makes you the most happy, and what makes you feel the most full than anything else. I think that no matter what religion you are, what we do, we're always going to have questions. And I think that is a test from God saying, will you still be a good person out of the kindness of your heart instead of just trying to please me? Because think about it real quick. If we knew 1,000,000% sure that there is a God, and that if you act up, you go to hell, and if you be good, you're going to Jannah, everybody would be a good person. Not because they're genuinely a good person, but because they don't want to be under punishment. So whenever the uncertainty hits, it's the question of, will you still be a good person, and will you still try to maintain life? Will you still donate to charity? Will you still be good to people? Will you still be respectful, even if you're uncertain that there's a God really there? Of course, for me, the answer is Islam. And I can recommend everybody to this video to go and look into it. I think it makes the most sense, and that it will lead all of us to the promised land, and that y'all should look into it too. But that's just me, y'all. I'm not here to hate, and I will greet everybody with open arms regardless of what they believe in, unless it's bad. So I would like to know how y'all feel in the comments. Do y'all feel like I answered some questions? Do y'all feel like I've given you more questions? Or do you feel like I'm just making you wonder more? Like I said, we'll never know 1,000,000% sure until we get there. God bless everybody watching this video. Hope everyone is good. Hope everyone finds peace of mind and stays true to their self and people around them. Keep being a good person. Keep praying until God answers your prayers. It is okay to question. It is okay to doubt. But keep being a good person, and keep trying, and keep putting your all into it. And God will make sure that we're all in good hands. Love y'all, boys.